is up, guys? Evergreen Fly Guy. I hadn't intended to do a video tonight. I actually was just down here messing around with some flies, and I got this idea that popped into my head, and I was like, you know what? I want to record this. I want to record this bad because it's kind of wacky. I don't even know if it'll work. It's kind of crazy, but you're gonna bear with me. And if you see this, it means I got it to work. And then if it'll work in the water, that I don't know. But I have some ideas. I want to play it out. I've been just spitballing ideas at my table here, so I have materials everywhere. And speaking of materials, that's a hint. I got a big video coming on some gosh, hope I wasn't covering the speaker. I'm real bad at that. On some stuff that I got coming. That's all I gotta say. It's a little sneak peek there. But probably see a video on that by the end of the week. But let's just get right into this. Alrighty guys, I am back. So let me show you what I have here. So right here I just have a size 6 Kamigatsu standard straight eye hook, and I went ahead and I put some olive thread on it. That's going to be the theme here, is olive. So at this point I'm going to take a little olive marabou and I'm going to get a couple good pieces out, because like a lot of our stuff, this is going to be a jointed fly. I've been messing around with the jointed stuff, trying to find some good plumes of this stuff real quick. And we're going to wrap it up just like we would a lot of other jointed stuff. So this is a decent plume. I'm just going to tie her in at the bottom. You can cut that stuff off or you can leave it on, it doesn't matter. At least not for what I'm doing. If you intend on copying this wacky pattern that I'm doing right now. What is that, like right in there? I'm going to wrap this up. The hook shank. Let's go the other way with it. Oh yeah, we're getting more out there. This one's not the best plume, but I'm running low on the green, so I'm trying to make use of everything I can. And I'm thinking once this is all splayed out and dragged up over here, it's not going to look as bad as it seems. You add the bulk of another one, because we fit like 2 on here, so I'll probably do 2. I've not done a practice run on this fly. This is just like one of those videos where I'm just straight thinking of it as I'm doing the video. I've been on these bass fly kicks lately, and I was like, you know what, I'd like to do a big streamer, sinking streamer type deal. And I was like, I want something that's like, I don't necessarily want a baby fish, but I was like, what about like a juvenile? Somewhere in that intermediate stage. So what I'm trying to do is replicate either a baby largemouth or a baby, or not baby, but juvenile smallmouth. So there's going to be a lot of green to this. Crank back on it just a hair more. I want to get all this tight together. Alright. I'm just using olive thread, I think I mentioned that earlier, my bad. I'm gonna grab another plume and we're gonna keep going. Actually, real quick, I think I want to throw in a little pearl flash, so I'm gonna just grab 2 strands out of my my thing here, measure it out. Oh jeez. Oh, apparently I had like 4. Jeez. Okay, that looks like just 2, hopefully. And I'll just tie it in. There's so many different ways you can tie this in. It's simply, the simplest way I found is just to get it and get tied up here around it and just tie it down in here, right there at the base. I usually split mine in half, that way I can do some strands on one side, some strands on another. It can be a little bit difficult to get in here and get this locked down because these crystal strands move around so much. Now I'm going to take 1 on each side of my rope of it here, Set that over there. Got this guy. Pull him tight and whoop, there it goes. Stuff so slickery, and it just slips right through the thread. Once you get it like really well tied in, it won't matter too much, but in the early stages like this, it's really slippery and gets through pretty easy. And if you lose some feathers like I just did there off this marabou while you're tying it in, that's okay, because we're going to be tying in another piece of marabou, doing the same thing I mentioned earlier, just pulling one side to the other and tying it in. We're nowhere near done with our marabou. We're going to put another feather on just this part, and it's going to help it stay in. Now you can take that marabou and just stick it back in like this, and because we're putting this in the middle, when I put on this next piece of olive marabou, it's going to cover that too. So you don't need to worry about it going every which direction that much. Alright, this is a pretty good strand already. Hey, two pretty good strands. Alright. Just cut this little bit off. I don't like that hard plastic at the end. Makes it difficult when you're trying to tie it in. Strip off the little stuff that I don't need. Alright, let's get it tight in. I'm going to come right back up here. I like to keep mine tight. You can space it out a little bit. I like to just get mine right behind the other. And I'm going to make a smooth transition down the hook shank. There we go. Oop, I don't think I got that in there good. Let me go back up a little bit. That way I don't wind up pulling anything out, wasting anything. There's a little bit of a plastic piece in there. Yep. Okay, we gotta back up now. That was not the good piece I thought it was. When you get down to your last pieces, you start to realize that you kind of only left the ones that aren't that great. Then you're like, oh no, what do I do? Buy more. I guess that would be the answer there. Buy more. Alright, here's a different piece. I got out like 3 pieces right there to try to make this a little bit quicker, because I was hoping to make the short video out of this, but because of how big of a fly it is, I can tell it's not going to be a short video no matter what I want it to do. And I was like, if I'm going to do this and make something kind of cool, I need to record it, because this is probably like a one-time ordeal for me, mainly because I don't really know if it'll work at all, and I don't know if I can fully even pull it off. Because what I'm going to do for it's kind of weird. Because you can make like three-part jointed streamers like I'm about to attempt to do, but not exactly the way I'm about to do it. So we'll see as we approach this. I'm going to tie it in, crank back on it, so you can build up a little head. It is kind of hard to see because your thread is the same color as this marabou. I'm making a little bit of a kind of a thread head, not really a thread head. You'll see, I'm just using it to create some space right here. Unfurl all this, get our body going. And the more you push back on these fibers as you're doing the body, the better this body is going to come out and the more full it's going to look. See, I was kind of sloppy about pulling them back as I was tying it in, so it's not as good as it could have been, but it's not bad. It does exactly what we need it to do, and that's all that matters. Alright, I'm putting my thread right there. And now I'm going to grab I have very little of this black marabou, so I'm going to try to be sparing with it. So hopefully it's like nothing but good pieces. And you know what? We're starting off not bad, because that's exactly what we're looking for. Now I'm tying this in on the side. So I've tilted my thing to the side here, squaring it up on the side. There we go. I'm gonna just grab it and keep it locked in on the side. If you don't, you can push it around. But the reason we're doing this black is largemouth bass and smallmouth bass both have black spots on them. Whether it's like black stripes or black spots, they have black on them. I was kind of hoping I didn't have to go with black because I don't know, I just never have the greatest of luck with black stuff, but it's fine. It looks better this way, so that's all that matters. Is that it's visually good, so the fish likes it. Now I have that right there on that side. It's coming back to my side. This is very similar in the it's very similar in the building of the Swimmy Jimmies we were doing. And right now I'm just looking for my whip finish tool. I could use my fingers, but I slip on it sometimes. I'm not an expert with the fingers yet. And I'm gonna tie this off. Pick that little feather off. Cut that. Go ahead and grab the head cement. A little dash of that there. Alright, now time to get fun. You're about to see what we got going on. So I got a little piece of red intruder wire right here. I have big pieces somewhere. Gosh, I better not lose those because this is my last little bit of my favorite intruder wire. I'll have to pick up more of this. I love this stuff. This red. That's a Hair's Ear, whatever the brand, Hairline, whatever the brand is. It's their brand intruder wire. Unless this big, well, I can't say nothing. Unless whatever we're getting in the coming months, or the coming days, I should say, has more intruder wire in it, I will have to buy more. Damn. So, note to self, when you're watching the video, delete everything about the coming stuff, because it just kind of gives it away. And it's taken me a while to find this bead head. So, ready? Alrighty, so I put that intruder wire through there. Now I'm going to push it back up here and get it centered how I think I want it. And I have a tungsten bead here. This bead, one, it's going to give us the spacing, and two, it's going to give us a little extra weight for this thing to go down deeper. You probably don't need to use a tungsten bead, but I just am. Don't really have a reason why. So now I'm going to move on, and I have a 20mm hook shank. Now this is what I'm talking about, where we're getting weird. We are going to attach this to the back of the hook shank. Now you could honestly, you probably could loop this through some special way, but I'm just going to put a little thread on here and just tie it into the hook shank. Bring that up there for you guys to see. I'm having vice technicalities. I think I'm ready to move on to a different vice. This one's been trusty and it's been good, and I have a backup one, but I'd like one with a stand, and I'd like a rotating one, I think. So maybe soon enough we might be getting on the new vice idea. Alright, so I just put a little thread bed down on that, and now I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to splay out the sides to where they sit on each side of this thing right here, just like we were doing with the Swimmy Jimmies. I'm going to kind of lock it, but I'm going to keep it centered, keep one side on one and one on the other, all the way up there until you get it how you need it. Nice good wraps to keep it spaced right on each side. If you need to adjust it with your thumb, it's very easy. That shouldn't offset that any. Once it moves down a little bit, it'll just back and forth there. I don't think that'll cause any issues. I was thinking about this gap right here, because I could have ran the wire through the gap potentially, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't have enough wire to run it through like I'd want to anyway, so we'll just go this route. Like I said, these are all experimental flies. This is like, I wouldn't necessarily, you could, I'm not saying you can't fish with it. I'm just not sure how good it would work. And I've just got some old scissors right here, which actually they're kind of my main scissors because I just keep them nearby and it's the first thing I grab. But anyway, I just cut that off and now I'm beefing up this shank right here with some thread, keeping all that red poking in there. All correct and whatnot. Alright, now I'm back here at the end of this, and we're going to do a little bit more marabou for it. As soon as I find the piece I want to use. There we go. This is one of the pieces from earlier. I'm going to jump up and catch that and tie it in. Tie it in real tight. I don't want it slipping out on us. Oh, and what I said happened. That's why when you tie these in, I heavily recommend that you try to grab it from the bottom. So, say I'm back down here, and then I take it under like this. Sometimes I forget to do that, and I just go at it. Don't do it, because then you got to redo it like I just did. All right, set that there, and we'll wrap around. And I'm just pulling the excess back. And I'm just going to use one here, I believe, because this hook shank is not very big. So there we go, get that, we're gonna crank back on it, just like we do with all of them. Gotta lean over here and look, gosh, all the thread's tricking me up. Okay, I think that's perfectly good there. Splay this out, see how it's looking. Get away from the hook and stuff. Alright. Yes. Good stuff on me. I'll cock this to the side. I'm gonna go consult my black marabou and see if I got another decent piece I can use to tie in. I think I do. Tie in this right here. And about right in here. Real tight, seal it off. Take this excess junk right here. Get you good scissors because this is a little bit of a cut. Dig in there deep, cut it off down there. I'm just going in behind that stump of stuff with this thread a little bit to try to push it up a little bit so it's a little bit easier to cut some more of it off. Now I'm just building back my thread right here. You can even use it to clean up that stem a little bit. Use my whip finish tool to make sure you can still get thread through this, which is fine because you don't necessarily need to be able to get tiny thread through it. We just need to be able to get our intruder wire through it. That's all that matters for right there. Nope, slipped off. There we go. Put some on this, pop it off, seal it up. got your stem, put that piece of marabou down. Right, same thing we did on the last one. Add just a hair of head glue. Keep that rope secure, or that line secure. We're going to take another piece of intruder wire right through the top there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take us another bead. This is going to be a very heavy fly, if you have not figured out by the size of these tungsten beads and everything we are doing. This is going to be a heavy fly, guys. Alrighty. Now it's time to get even crazier. We're going to use another one of these size 2 streamer hooks. I love these streamer hooks. They are very sharp. They seem like they could do their job very well, because I sure get poked by a crap load. I actually haven't got to take any out. I'm sure I've used this brand before when fishing with streamers, but I don't remember it. Now, I have to, if I had one of my cone heads, I cannot find my cone heads for the life of me. I think I've searched just about everywhere. I can't seem to find them there. They're probably in this pile of stuff right here, just chilling out, and that's annoying. But it's okay, because I got more of these bead heads, so we'll just use the bead heads. But to get the bead head on, I gotta break the barb. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm just using the heavy metal ends of these scissors, not the scissor blades, but the scissor handles right in here. And I'm just gonna crank down on it, and it breaks the barb. Yeah, if you heard that little barb breaking, now it's barbless. Now it'll make it a little bit more difficult to fish with than it's barbless, but it's okay, because our back hook still has a barb on it. So yeah, I don't know that makes a difference, but there is a barb still in play here, if anybody was concerned about that. Alternatively, you could just get a bigger, if I had my cone heads, I wouldn't have had to trim the barb. They would have just fit fine. It's okay. Now I'm gonna do this just like a woolly booger, this part right up here. I know it sounds weird, right? But this is an experimental fly, so weird might be good, or it might just be useless. We'll find out. So I'm gonna put some more weight on the fly. I know you know, right? 2 tungsten beads, a hook, and a hook shank. And this guy is putting on more weight. I'm a madman right now. Where do I want it to touch? The bottom of the ocean? No, but I do want it to go in deep pockets. I want it to drag the bottom. Because alternatively, if I wanted it super light, I could have done this whole same thing basically out of deer hair. Super light that way. But I want it super heavy. So we're doing super heavy. Maybe we will do one in all deer hair, super light. And that was my washer. So if you guys don't know, if you didn't see it on my Instagram or whatever, I have like a little fly nook in my garage. I have, if you can't really see it, but right here, yeah, you can. I have a big sheet that I found. It was actually sewing materials, and it comes down and it covers this little nook area that tucks off in my garage. And I just have a little poker card table set up here, and I have my chair. I got some of my decorations on the wall from the Scouts and the Army. And this is just where I come to do my flies at. So I just tied in this lead wire up there, and now I'm coming down the hook of the the shank of the hook, tying in a line, making a little bit of a thread bed for it to stay a little bit better up here. Cut off that tag. Now we're going to take our big old tail piece, our body piece, I guess you should say. I don't know what it counts as at this point. And I'm going to space it there, space it over it real good. I'm going to drop this. I'm going to start tightening this line in right here behind that lead wire wrapping. That way it all just kind of flows right up. It's not hard at all. This will probably be the most simplest part out of this whole fly, is doing this little woolly booger type part right here. And I haven't tied a... Alright guys, I apologize, I'm back. I had to fix this wire. I happened to pinch it together right down here at the base, and that would have made it so it can't really turn. And our black was basically cocked underneath, and that wouldn't have been good. So we're back, we're cranking away at this thing. So first step I want to do here, in a traditional woolly booger, I would be laying down some have different stuff. I'm gonna do some lead wire for it for sure, but you would do a tail. Now we don't need the tail because we have a tail, so I think I'm just gonna find another decent piece of green marabou, and that'll function as the tail in a way. Sorts. Fly tying gods are smiling upon me. That's a perfect blood quill to use for what I need. So I'm just gonna jump up and grab it and tie it in. Set it up here out of the way. Up. Pull that off. There we go. I did a little bit too long a stem and it popped off. That's okay. We'll go back down and do it one more time. One more again. Oh, I keep moving this. Sorry, guys. Very tight, very tight. Not too tight, but very tight. Put it back up here. And move out of my way a little bit. Now I'm going to wrap over. Not too careful not to get caught in that tail, because there's a lot of pieces about right now. And I'm going to try to keep this pretty low down here on this, because we got a lot to do right here in this one section of body. Okay, now let's take this back down here so we can wrap back on this. I have a little bit too much thread out, that's why I'm not using my bobbin. Cranking it back. There we go. Jeez, my bobbin just keeps getting loose. I need to make more of a habit out of setting these things before I start these videos. I apologize, guys. I've messed with it 2 or 3 times now, I think. If you see, I'm just pulling these fibers out that got twisted up to make my tail here. A little bit more, because I'm about to do something else right here too. I'm going to take another piece of this black marabou, and I'm going to try to do a pretty small piece, and I don't have much of it, so I don't think it's going to take me too long to find a pretty small piece. And I don't need to tie it in, it's just going to hang out right here on the side, right here. So let me look if that runs like that. Not too far, not too much. Yeah, that's perfect. Just a small piece right here on the side. You could tie this in, you could leave it out. I'm gonna tie it in. It doesn't matter that much. It was a very thin piece, so it doesn't even have like that much of tags or anything to it. So see, that's just, it's gone. It's never there. Never had a stem to it. Alright. And it's also keeping us about even with this lead wire here, so we're all smooth on the body. Just cleaning up through here, that's all I'm doing. You don't have to clean it up. We're actually going to cover it with something, so you don't need to have it perfect like I am. I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist. when it comes to this type of stuff. All right, so now at this point, we're gonna take our copper wire, and I'm just gonna pull off a strand, probably 6 inches. Don't bite it with your teeth like I just did. I'm telling you, just don't do it. Oh, I'm gonna catch this guy from the bottom. We'll do it on the bottom. And I'm just tying it along the body there. On the bottom, keeping it on the bottom. And now we're just gonna find it and set it out of our way. We don't need it right now. And now we're gonna take something that you need for woolly boogers, traditionally, which is chenille. And I am going to strip a little piece off, and that's going to be our body. That's probably enough right there, I'd say. And that's about 5 inches. It's probably overkill. If you want to try to be more precise about yours, do so. I'm not making a big deal out of it. Trying to think of where the best place to tie this off is going to be. And I think just need to start it at the head. So we'll hope I'm right, because I don't want to be doing this a bunch over and over again. Oh gosh. Alright, let's see. Or was it the bottom? You know what? I think it was the bottom. Apologies, guys. Since this is a pretty long video, I might just edit this out. I'll have to decide later, because I imagine this is going to be a pretty long video either way you go about it. Alright, get that all tucked in, wrap this up here and leave it. Alright, now I'm going to spin this around, and I'm just going to make my way up the hook shank with it. Straight up the hook shank, staggering it one after another, not on top of each other unless you want to go wider with it, which you could. You could go back around a second time and try to keep it bulked like that, which actually is not a bad idea. I didn't take enough to start with that. So now I'm going to cut it off, wrap up here a little bit, clip this guy. Now we have a nice little fuzzy olive chenille body. Now at this point we're going to take some hackle feathers, and I have a miscellaneous pack of hackle feathers that has some rather long black ones in it that I would like to use. If worse comes to worse, we'll have to switch to my ginger colored ones, because they're massive, so they're good for big ones like this. But like I said, I'm going to see if I can find some decent sized black ones out of this before I just say nope. I'm going to trim off these baby feathers here, the more wider end. I'm going to tie it in up top here. Catch under it, of course, like always. Take it up. And now I'm gonna walk the thread down. Actually, you know what? We're going to hold off on that for a minute. Alright guys, so I have this copper wire, and I'm going to go ahead and run it up and through, sorry. I like to do a couple circles around the base right here before I start going up. And then I just kind of stagger it up. And this is going to give it a little bit more color, slightly more weight, and it's going to give it a little bit more of a kind of a flashy effect in the water. Not anything crazy, but I think it works just well for what we're about to use it for. You know, just right up here, cut it off with your thread. Bam. Now we got it ribbed. And we're basically going to rib it again. Okay. Well, it's not awful so far. I'm coming a little bit short, it looks like. Alright. It's okay. So, because that was short, and I really want to keep the black, I'm actually going to snag another one of these feathers, but I'm going to snag a much smaller one to finish it off. And I have, trust me, there was no loss of the short ones in that pack. I really need to just get some more hackle options because I've been using it a lot lately. You think I'd be good to go on it, but just ain't. Gosh. And I pulled that one right out. That was a waste of thread right there. Okay, draw it up a little bit. I've already used most of this olive thread. I've been tying with it like crazy, especially these olive things. I've been doing a lot of olive. I love olive. It's my new favorite for the time. I'll switch and find something else here in a little bit. Be something weird like neon green or something. Like, yep, that's what I'm tying in now from now on, neon green. Gosh. Alright, right behind it. You can do it, thread. Come on, we got it. Last turn. Oh, there we go. Alright, now I'm going to try to organize all this floof. And we'll try to take this around here. There we go. Sorry, I saw some like unfull spots right here, and I'm like trying to see if I can wedge it in both sides to use it, which I think I actually just pulled it off, so that's cool. Just trying to catch the tip of that in the rear here. Alright, now I'm going to go gently back through all this as best I can with my thread here. Trying not to keep anything from locking down. I probably just got a big gap on the back side here or something. No, not actually. So there's no real trick to this, guys. It's just bob and weave, kinda. Alright. There we go. Now I'm going to build up a little bit of some thread right there. And last but not least, we are going to tie this monster off. If I can get my whip finish going. There we go. Yeah, all right. Try to dodge those fibers up front there. Oh gosh, my string just broke. Bam, there we go. Snip that. And now, as always, to play it on the safe side, after I get done unsquiggling everything and making sure it's all stand-up and good. I think that's fine for the time. I see that stem of that olive, and I'll grab it right here. Little head cement. Without snipping anything, hopefully I can just pry this out of here. I did snip a black fiber, but I think it's okay. Alright guys, that is it. Look at this behemoth of a fly. This is massive. This is the full baby bass or baby smallmouth, whatever you would have it, fly thing that I was just messing around with. I'll have to sort its feathers and push it around how it needs to be, and you'll see it on the thumbnail, but that's it, guys. It's crazy. It actually looks like it kind of like fluidly works, and it's going to be a tank in the water. I mean, it's going to be heavy. Alright, guys, evergreen fly guy. Positioning my camera with my hand. God, I need a bipod. That has been, I don't even have a name for it yet. So when you see the video, you will see the name. It's probably going to be like baby bass or something like that, or juvenile bass. I don't know, it's crazy. It's probably not something I'm going to tie a bunch of, so you won't find it on something I'd like to announce for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate all my new subscribers. I got like 7 today. That was such a blessing. Get out there and catch some fish, guys.